ECOWAS is supposed to be ECOWAS of people, not just ECOWAS of states. The difference is that we want ECOWAS citizens to mingle together, to trade together, to interchange ideas on a regular basis as a single community of people. For every kilo of cashew nut exported, you are exporting jobs out of the community. You are creating unemployment by doing that. We need to reverse this trend. How do we do that? We studied the market and we found out that to put a factory does not cost that much. With $20 million, you put a cashew transformation factory in place. They will employ citizens. Those employees will end up paying tax at the end of each year. We have gone beyond talking many years ago. What we now do now is to reach out to potential businesses that we think has the opportunity to grow rapidly and employ a lot of people in the agro space. On our own, we reach out to them, we write to them, we visit them. Come, there are ways we can assist you. Be an expert, a master in your game, so that all of the small technical details, you master it properly and you're able to convince investors to put fund in your business.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Africa Discourse Channel. My name is Na, and today we are in Abidjan having the conversation about financing agribusiness in Africa. And there's been a lot of conversations going around. Today I have with me Mr. Ola, and I would hand over to him to do the introduction because his name is very heavy and I don't want to mess it up. So I'll leave it over to him. He's going to introduce himself, tell us what he does, what his organization is about. Then I would start asking my questions.
Thank you so much, and good morning to our listeners from wherever you are. I'm Dr. Olagunju Ashimolowo. I'm the Vice President in charge of operations for the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development. What do I do? First, I finance infrastructure projects across board. The name of the bank is very strategic. You can see ECOWAS at the beginning, meaning that our mandate is to cover projects across all the 15 countries of ECOWAS, right from Cape Verde in the Atlantic Ocean and all the way down to our eastern border in Nigeria. Those countries in between, that's our mandate. And we are for infrastructure and development, meaning that we need to help our government, help our private investors to finance infrastructure projects for development in all the countries. And we've done this over the last 50 years. The bank started as a regional development fund in 1975. We've grown, we've had a lot of changes, a lot of improvement between then and now to where we are today. If you take all the countries today, hardly is there any country where you don't have major projects financed by EBID, from agriculture, rural development, rural electrification, and so on. Especially in terms of dams, interest in financing dams lies in the fact that if you finance dams, you are not just creating water for agro use, you're also creating the opportunity for electricity. You are creating the opportunity for people who are into fishing and all of those things. So it's like you are killing 10, 20 birds with just one single shot. So this is what we do in ECOWAS Bank.
Okay. What you've said sounds very impressive. But are there any specific projects that your bank has financed that has proven successful that you'd want to probably highlight or talk about?
Thank you so much. We have quite a number of successful projects here and there in agriculture specifically and in other areas to create integration. First and foremost, because our name originates from the ECOWAS group. ECOWAS is supposed to be ECOWAS of people, not just ECOWAS of states. The difference is that we want ECOWAS citizens to mingle together, to trade together, to interchange ideas on a regular basis as a single community of people.
Okay.
To do this, you need integration projects. So when we started many years ago, one of such integration projects that we financed is this institution that we all know today that everybody called the EcoBank Group. We started the EcoBank Group in our building in Lome many years back. Today, EcoBank has grown beyond even Africa. That's integration. Hardly is there any country today in Africa where you don't have that institution, EcoBank. I'm sure around your streets, you have a branch of that institution. A second integration project that we finance is the airline called ASKY. ASCAI, let me just tell some stories before ASCAI. If you roll back some 20 years ago, you want to travel from, let's say, Togo or Accra in Ghana to Niamey in Niger. If you take West Africa's map, Niamey is just up north. If you know Ghana very well, once you cross Boga and so on, maybe about 400 kilometers, you are in Niamey.
Yeah.
But it's not that straightforward when it comes to air travel. It wasn't straightforward when it got to air travel some 20 years ago. You had to first fly from either Accra to Abidjan. From Abidjan, you fly to Mali. And if you are lucky to get some funny, you have to go to Europe before you fly back to Niamey.
Just coming to Africa within Africa.
Just a distance of around 500-600 kilometers. So it would have taken you 2 days, but because we needed to change these dynamics, we financed the institution called ASCAI with other investors. Today, all of those things will take you maybe around 3 hours maximum, including the waiting time at the airport. That's integration. So you can decide to wake up somewhere in Banjul at 7 a.m. You have some products to sell, jump on a flight. By 9, let's say by 11, 12, same day, you are in Lagos. You do your meeting for 2-3 hours, you're on the way back to the airport. At 7 p.m., you are back with your family enjoying dinner.
Yeah.
That's integration. That's our dream. And the bank is committed to financing all of that. Now, back to agriculture, we have a number of projects that we finance that has really helped our citizens. We have a dam in Mali called Bani Selinge. Bani Selinge is a dam that we finance, and today people are enjoying the benefit of such dams. In Niger, we have a Samandeni Dam also that we finance. Same story. Now, in industry, we also believe in transforming these agro products into processed goods.
Okay.
Because the reality is that there is no value, not much value is derived by agro producers when you produce and export raw.
Yeah.
First, the post-harvest losses today that we have in our community is about 60%. It is not sustainable. Secondly, is the fact that if you manage to even get the remaining 40% out of the farming area, you sell it at peanuts. For example, a ton of cotton today sells for around $300, $350 in the global market. Your jacket, maybe you know how much you bought it. You may not want to tell me, but I know. Now, as at the last check last week, when I was in a supermarket somewhere, it's about $100, $200 to get this thing. That means 3 pieces, less than 200 kilograms, will cost that much.
Yeah.
So that's the value of transformation. We need to help our farmers to transform these agro products into finished goods. Same goes for cotton, same goes for every other thing, including cocoa. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, between them, they are the largest producers of cocoa in the world. But that's where the story ends.
You don't produce chocolate.
You don't produce chocolate. I mean, if you like chocolate, I'll do.
Yeah.
Yesterday evening on the flight from here, we were giving some chocolate. I asked the air hostess, a piece costs how much? She said about $1 each. That's the value of transformation. So we are helping a lot of our agro producers to transform their products into finished goods so that they can earn a lot of value and be empowered. In Senegal, there is an institution called SATREC. SATREC transforms milk products into dairy and a lot of other things. They produce yogurt and so on.
Yeah.
And the company has demands beyond Senegal and a number of institutions in Africa and beyond. Here in Cote d'Ivoire, we have Dekel Oil, we have Capro Industry. They all transform agro products into finished goods. For example, palm oil. Palm oil has about 40 derivatives. So nothing is a waste in palm oil, including your brooms. So all we need to do is create industry that will transform all of these nice things into valuable products that we can sell around the world.
Exactly.
Capro Industry is a good story here in Cote d'Ivoire. Capro Industry established their factory about a few years, by around less than 10 years ago. Today, they export almost everything into Europe every day. Just buy cashew products, transform it, process, and so on. And then they have a steady market outside of here. Any foreign exchange for the country, employing youths, almost 600-700 people on daily basis, both skilled and unskilled. So you don't have a story, oh, I didn't go to school. You have a job in this type of institution.
Yeah.
Drivers are there and all of the ancillary service providers. That's the beauty of helping producers to transform their products into finished good. So we have quite a number of stories across board like that in almost all the countries of ECOWAS, and we still want to do more.
I'm really concerned about the conversation about turning raw materials into finished goods.
Yes.
Somewhere last year, I went to Sunyani in Ghana.
Yes.
And then, they produce a lot of cashew. There are lots of cashew farms there.
Yes.
And so I was trying to buy cashew nuts, the processed one. And then we had to move through the town. We were not getting some. So we got to a place and then we had conversation with somebody where the man was like, they sell it to the Chinese people. So they just pluck the fruits, go to how they weigh cocoa, and they're just going to weigh it there in the warehouse, give it to the Chinese guys, and then they process it and come and sell it back into the country, which I feel like is not fair. So if your organization is doing something like that, which I feel like is very impressive, but now my question is, a lot of farmers want to do this. So they want to turn their goals into finished products.
Yes.
How does your organization help such people? And what is the criteria for, let's say, a farmer like myself, or maybe a small farmer, or probably a large scale farmer, gets opportunities, some of the support your organization gives?
Thank you so much. First, in the bank, we did our research many years ago, and we found out that those farmers you mentioned exporting their products raw to the Chinese and so on, for every kilo of cashew nut exported, you are exporting jobs out of the community. You are creating unemployment by doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you finally got what you wanted to buy, Daddy, but I can assure you, a bottle of cashew nut today sells for around equivalent of $6. Or in Ghana cities, we are looking at maybe around 800 or so. That's the value of the transformed product from the raw materials. Now, what we do in the bank is that we need to reverse this trend. How do we do that? We studied the market and we found out that to put a factory does not cost that much. With $20 million, you put a cashew transformation factory in place. They will employ citizens. First, the company will also pay tax. Don't forget, those employees will end up paying tax at the end of each year.
Yes.
They have people, they finance, they support. When you see, we don't have much of motorbikes transporting in Accra, but outside of Accra, we have a lot of these motorcycle riders. These are the people who finance them. Those employees who are gainfully employed somewhere. So it's a value chain. So what we've done is that we identified these businesses and we finance their industry, put industry in place in Africa here, especially in West Africa, to transform agro product into finished goods so that we can create a lot of jobs for our citizens. At the end of it, those farmers will see benefits enormously. This time around, you have your neighbor who is just buying the product, it transforms, and every day you have a guaranteed market based on what is available. And we've done quite a number of that in almost all the countries, and we are still doing more.
Okay, so I think my follow-up would be, how does a farmer, or I know you collaborate with government organizations, private sectors, but what of the small businesses, how would they be able to get in touch with the organization to be, okay, this is what the opportunity is?
Good.
And probably you are also thinking about sustainability.
Yes.
Because you don't want to put money into something that is not sustainable.
Yes.
That would end up going bad or something. So how does the person looking for support go through the process, and what are some of the things you would look at before you do that?
Good. It's very simple. Most banks do the same thing generally. Now, when you look at DFIs, ours is to make sure that we finance longer term projects for people to be able to sustain their businesses. So what we do is that we encourage business operators to come to our bank to borrow money to finance their projects.
Okay.
And then we do long-term financing. It depends on which project you are putting in place, but between 3 years all the way down to 10 years, we are there to support you. So we do this a lot for almost any investor that is interested. On the other side, we also assist the government as well.
Okay.
Now, we are also conscious of the fact that not everybody can come and knock at our door to take facilities.
Exactly.
Today, our minimum ticket size is about $5 million US, or the equivalent either in CFA or in euro. Not every business person, not every agro industry operator can come to the bank to borrow such. But they have good prospects. So how do we help them? On our own, we've gone out in the bank to now see, how do we help these people? We have identified commercial banks in all the countries of ECOWAS, and we lent to those commercial banks with a mandate that, look, This fund is dedicated to agro financing. So your mandate is also to go back and unlearn to farmers in your area, to youth-led businesses and to women-led businesses as a way of generating that needed job to calm the citizens down. Because today, I'm sorry, the youth are angry. The youth also don't want to go back to the farm because it doesn't look nice. It doesn't look attractive. So to make it look attractive, we encourage them, look, we are giving you this lending and we want you to focus on agro businesses, women-led businesses, and also youth-led businesses. And also, when any business innovates, it's one of the key signals that makes us to get excited. So that at the end of the day, the youth can be encouraged to come. I mean, I've visited some farms in Europe. You see a farmer, his wife, and 2 children on the horse, and the children are also playing with iPad. Why can't we do it in Africa? Today, almost every household has a cell phone and so on with Wi-Fi, and it doesn't cost much. The cost of accessing data is very low. So if you put this infrastructure in place in all the remote areas, I can assure you the youth will come. So we've started doing that to finance institutions that we do that. And also, light is very key, electrification. So we focus more of our financing these days in rural electrification for the government, so that when the rural areas are peaceful and habitable for the youth, you will come back. So these are some of the things we do in the bank.
Okay, great. So I think this is going to be my last paper question. So what is the future looking like for your organization? What are some of the initiatives you intend to do in the future just to support and finance agribusiness? Like the conversation we are having now.
Yes.
I know most of the times when we go for events, it's more of conversations. But what is like the action plan for ECOWAS EBID at the end of the day? What are your plans for, like, let's say 2025?
For us in the bank, we don't just talk, we also actualize our talks. We have gone beyond talking many years ago. What we now do now is to reach out to potential businesses that we think has the opportunity to grow rapidly and employ a lot of people in the agro space. Or now we reach out to them, we write to them, we visit them. Come, there are ways we can assist you. Oh, I don't have this and so on. We've developed innovative financing models to ensure that we're able to help these organizations to grow, so that when they grow, they're not just growing alone, they're also employing youths. Maybe in 20, 30 years time, those of the youth will also have their own farms elsewhere and so on. We've done quite a lot. For example, there's an institution here in Côte d'Ivoire established by the government. It's called INEO, Institut National des Ivoiriens des Entreprises. We helped them to establish some of their facilities, and today the company here is doing very, very well. Managed by professionals, no government interference. And they lend to all of these small folks who cannot come to the bank in agro space. A husband, his wife, and 2 children, they go in there, take a loan of maybe about 200,000 CFA to start tomato business. Within a year, they have employed 1 more employee. There are others who took 5 million CFA. They started as 5 young persons like myself and so on. Within a year, they've employed 5 other graduates like themselves. So this is what we want to do across board, to create a lot of jobs, to help people to. There's a lot of money in agriculture. So we have started focusing our citizens' attention towards that line, not for all of us to focus on white collar jobs and so on, because it doesn't bring food on the table. It's agri that brings food on the table.
Food,
I don't know, however smart you are, however nice you are, there's no way you know it at least once in a day. So that's why we have to turn back and see where the money is.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, what would be your final message or your farewell message for young entrepreneurs, young people? Like, even if you, with the conversations we're having now, if you look at the people there, we have a lot more, let's say, old people than the young people. This shows that young people are not really interested in the agricultural firm, like interested in becoming young agri entrepreneurs. What would be your message for such young people, and how do you think they can be able to also build themselves, also get to a stage where we have a lot of young people investing in the agri business?
The first thing that I will counsel the young people is that look at those old people you see there. There are reasons why many of them, after spending 40 years in government offices and so on, they still come back with their pensions and they are going back to the field. That means there's something there that they are not seeing.
Yeah.
So the youth will also see the benefits and the potentials in agriculture. That's the first message. The second is the fact that don't give up. Don't give up in the sense that you need to just keep at it. One day you'll see an institute that believes in your dream. We are one of such. And the third is the fact that for every project, every banker around the world wants to see what is called bankability in your project. What's bankability? It's not that just that you have a fantastic idea. It must be bankable. I should be able to convince myself that I want to put other people's money, my money, in this business. The other part is you need to also be a master of your game. You don't have to be master of all. Today you are into fish production, tomorrow you are into tomato production, some other day you are into cashew production. Be an expert, a master in your game, so that all of the small technical details, you master it properly and you're able to convince investors to put fund in your business. Today we have a lot of funds here and there. There are patient capitals that could be invested in agribusiness. But the first thing is that every banker, every investor wants to see, is your project bankable? Is it sustainable? What's your experience in that business? So the youth should be patient enough to learn the tricks of producing each of the products you want to go into. Also, I don't see any bank that will finance anything that is not legal. So they should make sure that they have all of the regulatory requirements for their business they want to go in. For example, you heard somewhere or you read somewhere or you visit a friend and say, oh, some products sell very fast in so country. I'm going to start it in Ghana, or I'm going to start it in Cote d'Ivoire in Nigeria. Is it allowed by law for you to do such a product? For example, Lesotho. Lesotho today is the largest producer of cannabis around the world, and they make a lot of money for pharmaceutical cannabis. But can I produce cannabis in Ghana? Can I? You see? So if you don't have approval, no bank will lend to you on that. So you have to get all of the regulatory approval in place before you can approach a bank. Once your project is bankable, you do the financial modeling properly. If you don't know how to do it, call your friends who are accountants, experts. They can also be partners in the business. Call them, they do the financial modeling for you. You subject it to what is called sensitivity analysis. What that means is, I expect that in year one, I'm expecting, let's say in Ghana Cedi times, I'm expecting to reap Ghana Cedi of this business. What if there is drought? What if there is crop failure and so on? And then you do sensitivity analysis. Okay, I lose 50% of my expected revenue. So instead of 2 million Ghana cedis expected, I get 1 million Ghana cedis. Is this business sustainable? So all of those things, your folks, your friends who are knowledgeable in accounting would have helped you to subject that to sensitivity analysis. At the end of the day, it becomes bankable, and you can convince any banker to finance you. So that's my message to the youth.
Right. Thank you so much, sir.
It's
been a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you so much.
Right,
I'm
guys.
really excited to be here. Thanks so much.
It's been great speaking to Mr. Ola. So Mr. Ola is the Vice President of Operations for the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development. And we've had conversations about investments in agribusiness. And his last words were, do not give up. Make sure your idea is bankable and make sure you learn the skills you need to be able to build your business. And this has been an insightful session. Do well to subscribe, like, and then follow our channel. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if there is need for further information, viewers can go to our website, www.bidc-ebid.org. Okay. We have quite a number of materials that can help investors who want to access our funding. Numbers are there that you can call, emails are there, so we are reachable.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Sharing your time with me.
Thank you.